All right, guys, how you guys doing? Thank you so much for joining in. Once again, I want to do a quick little summary for you guys here. You know, anybody that knows me or knows a little bit about my story, they know that I used to work full time in sales. I got to the point where I realized that the vehicle that I was using wasn't a vehicle that was going to be able to take me where I wanted to go. That if I wanted to achieve my dreams, what I really had to do is I had to become an entrepreneur. The problem is that I was married, I had kids, I had overhead, I had a mortgage, I had car payments and things like that, and then I had a job that I was making pretty good money on, like a six-figure income, and I couldn't just leave that to I just didn't have the courage, I should say, to just leave that and go into a situation where all of a sudden I was going to be, basically starting from scratch, and who knows if it was going to be successful. I felt like I had too many responsibilities, so the issue that I was having is that I didn't know how I was going to be able to find the time to be dedicated to personal development like I was, find the time to work on my business, and be working on my dreams and still be working full time at my job, being a husband, being a father, and balancing those things was a huge issue for me. So I didn't know exactly what I was going to be doing, but I realized quite early on that I needed to manufacture some more time for myself. And the easiest way to manufacture time for myself was to wake up a little bit earlier. So I started looking for a morning routine. And that's when I came across this book, The Miracle Morning by Elrod. And, this was a fantastic book, and it gave me some really good ideas for me to craft my own morning routine, which is a little bit different from his, but uses a lot of the things that he basically talks about. And the idea is that, there's certain habits that can change your life. If you stack those habits on top of each other and do them all every single day, then you can potentially make quantum leaps. Okay? So, I had to find more time and energy from somewhere. I decided to wake up earlier. And I was committed to personal development. I really believed that if I wanted my life to change, that I had to change. That success wasn't something that happened to people by coincidence. That success was something that you attracted into your life by being a successful person. If you wanted to attract success, then you had to be an attractive person. And this is an idea that I learned from Jim Rohn, who's also one of my mentors that I spent many, many hours listening to, and is a terrific person to also get some insights from. So let's get into it right away. Okay, so first of all, the morning routine. Why is it important? How can it help you? First of all, what it can do is it can manufacture more time for you. Right? So I needed to work on my business, but I was also working full time, and then I was a husband and a father. But there were certain things that I knew I needed to do, things like exercising every day, reading, writing my goals out, working on my personal development, meditating, these kind of things. And during the day, when everybody else, was around and asking me to do things and I had other responsibilities, I didn't actually have the time to be able to execute on those things. So the best way for me to be able to do it was to wake up about an hour earlier than I normally would wake up. Okay? So, that's one of the things that it does for you. It manufactures more time. And the truth is, most people sleep more than they need to. Like, I used to sleep 9, 10, 11 hours a day sometimes. Now I rarely sleep more than 7 hours, and I'm trying to bring it down to sleeping no more than 6 hours, to tell you the truth. And if I could do that, I feel like it's great, because that's earning an extra hour every single day for the rest of my life compounded. Me spending that time on my personal development could be a huge game changer for me. But besides that, why do you want to have a good morning routine? Study almost any successful person. Study billionaires, study CEOs of, Fortune 500 companies, and you'll notice one thing, that they all have a morning routine that they stick to. And one of the reasons why you want to have a morning routine is because you can start your day off right by basically priming yourself, and being prepared rather than just falling out of bed. So the average Joe basically falls out of bed, is not in a great mood, kind of sleeps through life a little bit, gets to work, and is just like, is it Friday yet? But somebody that wakes up early kind of attacks the day, right? And that's what it allows you to do. If that first hour of the day, they call it the golden hour. That's your rudder. And if the first hour of the day is like lazy, you kind of get up just in time, you've been snoozing, oh, you know what, you're running late, this and that, oh, the stress of that, the whole entire day is going to continue going like that for you. Sort of like a stressful day. But if you wake up and you do something productive, and you feel great about it, then the rest of your day is going to go like that as well. Okay? Another benefit of a morning routine is that when you wake up before everybody else, you don't have anybody that can distract you. Waking up at 5 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning, 6 in the morning when everybody else is asleep and it's all quiet, well, you'd be surprised how much work you can actually get done. The type of ideas and everything that you have, because everybody else is asleep except for you. And there's nobody that is going to derail you, and the things that you focus on, you'll be able to focus on them with single-minded intent. And then another reason why you want to get up and do things early in the morning is because our willpower is actually highest in the morning. So the studies have shown that the later in the day that we progress, the more difficult it is for us to do things that require willpower. So people that work out regularly, people that go to the gym, the vast majority of them do their workout in the morning, the ones that are able to keep it going. Because the people that tell themselves, oh, I'm going to work out at 8 p.m. every night, well, by the time 8 p.m. comes around, they start coming up with reasons why they shouldn't be working out, and then they inevitably end up missing some workouts. I'm not saying it's not possible to work out in the evening. I know plenty of people that work out in the afternoon or the evening, but most people that are able to keep a routine going for a long time work out in the morning. And then another thing, the reason why you want to start with a morning routine is that once you start doing it a few times, it becomes a habit. Once it becomes a habit, then it's an automatic. It runs on autopilot. And, taking certain habits and making them run on autopilot is how your life can end up changing. And then when your life changes, so does your destiny. Okay, so the miracle morning, Hal Elrod, what's his story? He was basically, very interesting story actually. He was a successful salesman. He was on the verge of making it big. He was at one of those conventions. He was receiving awards. He was doing great. Him and his friends, were doing fantastic. They were celebrating. And then on the drive home from receiving an award like that, he ended up getting into a near fatal accident because of a drunk driver driving on the wrong side of the road. And, he suffered brain damage. They said that he may never be able to have cognitive function again. It was questionable whether or not he would have his motor skills completely, and it literally took him years to recover. But he didn't give up. And during that time, what he did is he spent that time reading and learning about self-improvement, personal development, motivation, those kind of things. He read everything that he could. He listened to audio programs, and that kind of thing. And he realized, as he was reading these books, that he started to see some common denominators showing up. And the common denominators that were showing up were 6 habits that seemed to be coming up again and again in the research that he did. So no matter who it is that he was listening to or talking to or studying, they kept referring to a few different habits. And so he realized that, these particular habits, they must be the key. So then he had an idea that, what if you were to take all 6 of those habits and you were to do them every single morning? So that no matter what happens, all of your personal development is done every single morning before everything else. So you can go on the rest of your day, and no matter what you do, you know that you've taken care of your personal development and you've done the 6 most important things that keep showing up that all successful people, that he studied were also doing. And so he called this morning routine the miracle morning. Okay, but before we get into the miracle morning, a lot of people would love to set up a morning routine like that, but they have a hard time actually waking up early in the morning. Okay, so Hal Elrod also has a 5-step snooze-proof strategy that he talks about in the book as well. Okay, which I think is very, very useful because that was one of the issues that I was having. I kept hitting that snooze button, I honestly, was starting to lose respect for myself because I kept telling myself I wanted to wake up early, but when the morning came around and I kept hitting that snooze button, I felt like I was weak. I wasn't executing on my strategies. I felt like my life wasn't in control. And so the first step to having a good morning routine is being able to wake up early. So this is his strategy. Number 1, set your intention before going to bed. So before you go to bed, you tell yourself that you're basically going to be getting up at a certain time. So you tell yourself whatever that time is, whether it's 5 a.m. or 6 a.m., but you tell yourself that you're going to do that no matter what. You set that intention. Okay? Then what you do is you keep your alarm all the way on the other side of the room. So in order for you to turn the alarm off or even to hit the snooze button, you literally have to get up out of your bed, physically get up on your feet and walk over to the other side of the room to turn it off. Okay? Just doing that is going to help you wake up a little bit, get you out of bed, literally. And then what you want to do, as soon as you turn that alarm clock off, walk right into the bathroom and brush your teeth. Okay? Hal Elrod even says, while you're brushing your teeth, say a little mantra to yourself in your head over and over again. And the mantra is, in 5 minutes, I'll be awake. In 5 minutes, I'll be awake. In 5 minutes, I'll be awake. And you know what? Brushing your teeth, because brushing a teeth is a habit that almost everybody has. And usually, by the time we're done brushing our teeth, we're usually quite awake. So our body, and our mind is going to register with that. So by the time we're done brushing our teeth, we have the habit of feeling like we're awake. So that's why it's important to brush your teeth right away. And then immediately after that, you drink water. You drink water because while you've been sleeping, your body is getting dehydrated. You want to hydrate the body. And then hydrating that body also gets all of your internal organs and things like that getting going. Okay? And then what you want to do is you want to either get dressed or take a shower. Okay? He said that he would usually take a shower afterwards because he liked to earn the shower by sweating a little bit, because part of the morning routine was to actually get a little bit of exercise. Okay? So if any of you guys are ever stuck having a hard time waking up in the morning, then try those 5 things out. They certainly work for me. That's really good advice for sure. Okay, so here's his morning routine. Okay, he calls it the savers, all right, or the lifesavers, and it's basically a habit stack of 6 activities that you will do every morning for anywhere between 2 to 10 minutes. So ideally, your morning routine is an hour, right? So you've heard terms like the hour of power. Tony Robbins, has what he calls the hour of power, which is the first CD in his Get the Edge audio series. And so an hour is the perfect amount of time. But if you can't do an hour, try and do 15 minutes. You can do each of these things for 2 minutes and be done the entire routine in just 12 minutes. And even that will make a difference. And if you start at the 12 minutes, you'll start to see, gains immediately. You'll start to feel good. And then you'll be able to bump that up to 60 minutes over time. Okay? So the S, in Savers stands for silence, right? So what that means is basically meditation, So he would get up, the first 2 minutes he would spend in silence, or the first 10 minutes, he would close his eyes and just be quiet. That's a form of meditation. That'll calm the body down. Our cortisol levels are quite high when we wake up. So our stress levels are a little bit higher in the morning. And so immediately meditating for 10 minutes will bring the stress levels down. Then the A stands for affirmations, so saying positive affirmations to yourself. This is a common theme among many of the self-help and personal development gurus. One personal thing that I do is I kind of combine that with the silence. So when I'm meditating, I repeat a mantra. in my head. So, for example, I might repeat a mantra like this. So I don't say it out loud, but this is in my mind. As I'm breathing in through my nose, I'll say something like, I am not this body. And as I breathe out through the nose, I'll say, I'm not even this mind. Okay? Another one that I like to use is, as I'm breathing in, every day in every way, as I'm breathing out, I'm getting better and better. And then another one that I like to use is, all I need as I'm breathing in is within me now as I'm breathing out. All I need as I'm breathing in is within me now as I'm breathing out. So then I end up combining those two because I like to meditate for a little bit longer than 10 minutes. I like to meditate for at least about 20 minutes. So then I'll combine the affirmations with the silence. Okay? The next, step in the 6 activities and what the V stands for is visualization. Okay, so that also combines very well with the meditation because after you're done with the meditation, you're already sitting there with your eyes closed. You want to start using that time to start visualizing. So what do you want to visualize? I would start by visualizing your ideal day. What do you want to do that day? Start picturing the day going on in the theater of your mind like it is going exactly the way that you planned it. Okay, so if you're going into a meeting and it's a big meeting that day, imagine yourself going into that meeting and just crushing the meeting, and everything working out exactly the way that you want it to. So visualize your whole entire day from beginning to end like that in the theater of your mind. And once you're done visualizing that, start visualizing the future. Start visualizing, your goals achieving. So visualize, if everything happened exactly the way that you wanted it to 10 years from now, what would your life be like? What would the house that you're living in be like? What would your body look like? What would your relationships look like? Where would you be traveling to? Start visualizing all of those things in your mind. Okay? The E stands for exercise, right? So exercising in the morning, is one of the best things that you can do. Sir Richard Branson, the founder of Virgin Air, was once asked, what is the number one time management, hack or tip that you would give somebody, if they were trying to become a billionaire? And he said, exercise every day. There's the benefits of exercising every day are so numerous, but when you do it in the morning, especially if you're doing aerobic exercise, something that gets the blood flowing, it's going to activate the brain, it's going to wake you up, it's going to give you clarity, and it's going to give you focus. And it's going to make it so that you're going to be able to perform better. To tell you the truth, honestly, if there's only one thing that you're doing every morning, if you can't do all 6 of these things, and there's only one thing that you can do, just doing exercise alone will give you such an edge over most people. Because like I said, most people are falling out of bed, barely making it to work on time, and like this entire world is a bit of a competition, it's getting more and more competitive. If you wake up every morning and you exercise or you do any of these things, that may give you the edge that could make all the difference. Okay? The R stands for reading, so 10 minutes at least, spend every day reading something motivational, something about self-improvement, or something about your field. If you're in sales, read about, how to sell things, how to prospect, how to close, right? Spending a little bit of time reading is essential. And reading does many things for the brain that can't be replicated with anything else. It improves our focus, it improves our vocabulary, and it gives us ideas, So that's what the R stands for. And then the S stands for scribing. Okay, so that's basically journaling. Hal Elrod noticed that a lot of successful people also journal every single day. So me personally, what I would be doing instead of the journaling as part of my morning routine is writing out my 10 most important goals, for the year. So that's what I would be scribing. What I would do is first write out my 10 most important goals. Then I would choose one goal that is the goal that rules them all, that is the most important goal, that if I was to just achieve that goal, all the other goals would automatically be achieved. And then I would flip that paper over and I would come up with 20 things that I could do to help me achieve that goal. And then after that, what I would do is I would make a quick little to-do list for the day, that these are the things that I have to do today. And that's a very effective use of your journaling right there. And if you do that in the morning, the amount of focus that you're going to have going into the day is going to be unbelievable. You'll literally be attacking the day. So basically, to conclude, certain habits, guys, can change your life. Okay? And some of these habits are reading every day. Reading every day, that one habit can change your life. Can change everything about you. It can change the way that you think. It can change how people look at you. It can change the quality of the ideas that you have. Exercising every day can change your life. Meditating can change your life. But if you do all 6 of those things that he talks about in the savers, the silence, the affirmation, the visualization, the exercise, the reading, and the scribing, if you do all 6 of those, each of those habits is a habit that can change your life. And if you stack all 6 of those habits, early in the day and do them at once, and you do them every single morning, then it's possible that you can start making quantum leaps in your life. So just like the farmer that plants the seed and doesn't understand how it germinates into the crop that he later harvests, we have to have faith while we work on ourselves that the law of cause and effect is also going to be working for us. So I just want to conclude by quoting a famous English poet by the name of Longfellow, who had a tremendous quote that has to do with what it is that we've been talking about. The quote is this: "The heights by great men reached and kept were not attained by sudden flight, but they, while their companions slept, were toiling upward in the night." So slow and steady is how we win the race. And Jim Rohn, I'm going to conclude with this. Jim Rohn once said that work at least as hard on yourself as you do on your job. Work at least as hard on yourself as you do at your job. Working your job can make a living. Working on yourself can make a fortune. So once again, I want to thank you guys for joining in. I hope you guys got something out of this, and I'll talk to you guys again. Have a great evening.